was trying to remember what you were my guest for my first season, so it's good. Okay,
Ah, look at you
so we
go.
are live now. Yay! Good
Congrats.
evening, everyone. Welcome to Connected with Carrie. This is now season 2, episode 7, although it's actually kind of like episode 9. But that's because we had to move Chaz's interview up a little bit from before because we had vehicle issues last weekend. Jesse got in the ditch. I got a flat tire. It was an interesting past little week. So yeah. So welcome, Chaz, to Connect with Carrie. You were here with me for season 1, and you were actually my third guest then. And now you are season 2. Oh, you're like my 8th guest. But anyway, that's okay. But thank you for coming back. I appreciate you coming in. And if you want to, just introduce yourself to everyone and why you are here this evening.
Yeah, so my name's Chaz Smith, and thank you for having me. I'm the president and CEO of Be the Change YYC. We are a homeless street outreach team. We walk the streets of Calgary, back alleys, and looking in parkades and things like that. And we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. And so, we're looking for people sleeping rough out on the streets in tents and trying to connect them to resources and end cycle of homelessness.
Nice. How has it been now? When we first had our little chat back it was last year, and I believe COVID had just became a part of our life.
Yeah.
And we were kind of talking about how it's been affecting the homeless. So if you want to explain it again to everyone, how you dealt with it at the very beginning and what's been happening over the year to the update of today.
Yeah, so as soon as COVID started, our concern, of course, was that people experiencing homelessness in shelters were not able to social distance. We also were advocating for hotels for people experiencing homelessness and additional shelter space and housing, ultimately, housing with supports. So what has changed is currently right now the winter response. So Alpha House has 3 shelters. The drop-in center does have their one overflow shelter. And there is some sort of social distancing happening inside shelters. So the chief medical officer has exempted shelters from that 2 meter, that 6 feet distancing, and it needed to be 3 feet. So they do have that. Additionally, what was happening in the beginning of COVID is shelters became breakout sites, so they had cases of COVID. And during that period of time, new clients were not able to enter shelters. So they were not allowed intaking anyone new. Now, after us advocating for additional shelter space, this government's response was to give the shelters exemptions so they could allow new clients in the shelter even though they still had active cases or current cases.
Okay, and how have the homeless been responding to that, knowing that they could be walking into a site where it could be active? How do they feel?
So during the winter right now, it's freezing cold outside. My team has been on the streets every Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. And additionally, outside of those hours as our emergency winter response. So I was out on Thursday. We're driving around the city as well. Clients they don't want to go inside shelters. They're afraid of catching COVID. And shelters were not ideal conditions for people even pre-COVID, whether it was, sexual abuse or harassment or robbery or some of the other sort of surrounding things that happen in shelters. But additionally, on top of it now, there's that fear of catching COVID, which has really exacerbated an already difficult situation.
Have you noticed any difference? Like, has the cases been more there, or have they been less, or kind of staying the same since it's breaking out from the beginning?
So there's absolutely been way more cases. December, I actually am not able to get updates anymore. I haven't received a recent update. I haven't seen a chart other than getting a text message just actually a few minutes ago saying there was 2 to 3 cases this week.
Okay.
Previously, I was seeing some of their charts, which were indicating, well over 100 cases of COVID. And so it's
Okay.
like many, many, many cases. It looks like it has dropped significantly from that point in time, though.
That's good because then it just shows that you guys are being responsible and you're taking everything seriously. The social distancing of whatever you're getting there seems to be okay. So that's good. And so more and more people have come in. How many more would you say homeless has been in there probably in the last month?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, so over the last month,
Mm-hmm.
how many homeless would you say have been intaked into the system there?
I can't speak regarding that. What I can say is on Thursday night, we served a total of 95 individuals.
Okay.
That was throughout our 2 teams in the north and south of Calgary. We were able to directly get 9 of those individuals into shelter, where one individual had a bar that they were not willing to lift because it was too severe of an incident. And so we have incidents like that. And so I can't say how many exactly have been admitted into the shelter. I do know that ASIS, the assisted isolation site for people experiencing homelessness, I do know that it is full and it is operating at capacity.
Okay. So what are some things that you guys, because I know we talked way back last year and you're like, well, we need these things and we need this and we need that. What do you guys still need? Like, what are the few things that you guys still need that people can donate to you?
Yeah, so while it's winter still, we always need items like jackets and gloves and toques, emergency blankets, and these hand/feet warmers. So people sleeping outside, we're really triaging and giving them, excess of those things, and sleeping bags as well to try and keep them warm. If people feel like they want to donate monetarily, our website does have that PayPal link, and that kind of helps us purchase whatever we might need in the moment. So during Thursday's cold snap, when we're going to train platforms, we had lots of clients that had no bus tickets, but they needed to go to the mustard seed, which is in the industrial area, for example. So I was buying them bus tickets with our Be the Change bank card that night because that's what they need.
Okay. So our city doesn't have anything special set up for the homeless to be able to get somewhere, they have to pay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I wonder if there's anything we can do about that.
Yeah, I really would hope that we would have been able to access some sort of free bus tickets, or that if you really are homeless and you can say, you're living at the drop-in center or going to the mustard seed, that perhaps then the trip should just be free.
Yeah, I wonder if there can, when you're in school and you have to go to the bathroom and they give you a hall pass. I wonder if they could give you, at the shelters, they could do some kind of a bus pass system where, they can keep it for however long, 5 days or something, and then they can use it and then, hand it in at the end of when they get up in the morning, they can take it and then give it back at the end of the day type of a thing, but I don't know.
No, that's a great idea, and I think that would be very reasonable. But I think ultimately the problem is, housing too, is because people are then traveling back and forth almost every day on transit, going back to the shelter, and it comes back to the point that it's an emergency shelter. It's supposed to be for emergency circumstances. It shouldn't have to be that one and only place where the person has to go back to. So this is a whole host of, I think, problems that we're seeing that come out of this one major idea, which is that we need people experiencing homelessness to have housing.
Yeah. What kind of programs do you offer? Because But I believe the last time we did chat, you were saying that there is some kind of a program that they can do that you can get housing, or they go into some kind of I don't know, like some program you were saying anyway. Just trying to remember, but I can't.
Yeah, it's like it was like a transitional housing program, the rapid housing program. And so I believe last time I looked, it was about 700 individuals on that waiting list to be housed. And
Wow.
so what's happened is they have housed many hundreds of individuals since the beginning of COVID. So I believe the drop-in center it was 300, the mustard seed was close to 100, and Alpha House was approaching 100. So there has been a lot more housing than there was before COVID. Unfortunately, some clients that we call, high acuity, they require many more supports than what other individuals might. So if it's like chronic mental health or chronic addiction, substance abuse, they might require more therapy and more of a structured environment. So I think what's important is to really continue triaging individuals because we don't want people to end up homeless and then stay homeless. We need to capture that population and rapidly house them as fast as possible.
Okay. Are you guys offering those services for those that do need like mental health or that kind of, any of those special needs? Do you guys do programs with that?
So, as a street outreach team, we're system navigators. So, we help clients navigate the system. So, when we're finding some of these newly homeless individuals, we're sending them to the shelters because they have no idea where the homeless shelters are. We're encouraging them to access the source, which is where you're going to get on a housing list. And we're just helping them connect those dots.
Okay.
Clients that are, chronically homeless, that have mental health concerns, recently, we've been referring them to the library downtown because they have had that drop-in service set up for mental health on the third floor. But additionally, there is a new program that the Calgary Homeless Foundation and CUPS has now launched for people waiting for housing.
Oh, okay, that's really great to hear. See, that's the thing, like, this is why I need you on, because, you know, through social media, we only kind of see little bits and pieces. We don't know behind the scenes of what you guys really do to be helping the homeless in our city. So that's a really good thing. How many homeless shelters do we currently have in Calgary? And do you know how many we have maybe in Alberta?
I don't know how many shelters we have in Alberta. That's a great question and something I'll look into.
Okay.
I know in Calgary we have 4 homeless shelters. That's not including the youth shelter. So I guess we have 5 if you want to include that youth shelter.
Okay.
So that's 17 to 12. And so the drop-in center, the mustard seed, and Alpha House are really your big shelters. The fourth one that I mentioned would be the Salvation Army. But that one, you generally have to call and actually reserve a bed and then show up for like the next day at 8 a.m. if you can secure a bed. So generally, we don't refer any clients to there because they're looking for a space and a bed immediately, not in the future. Right?
Yeah.
So they're usually taking clients right now. It looks like from like jail who can like book a bed in advance type of thing, and then they're rehabilitating them. So Alpha House, the Mustard Seed, and the DI are really our general population shelters. They each have different kind of prerogatives. So the drop-in center will take anyone, like really anyone. Alpha House is intox, so you generally have to be intoxicated to go there.
Okay.
And then the Mustard Seed is you must be sober.
Okay. So where are each of these located in the city?
Yeah, so the Mustard Seed, the sober shelter, is located in the industrial district of Southeast Calgary. So it's not really easily accessible by transit. It's not like it's in an industrial area around warehouses and stuff. The other 2 are downtown, which is the Drop-In Center and Alpha House.
Okay. How do most of your clients get there to each of those areas?
Yeah, so like the guy I was referring to that was banned from the drop-in center and his bar would not be lifted this past Thursday. We bought
Yeah.
him a bus ticket and we gave him directions to the mustard seat. So that's how he got there that night.
Okay. And
So
then,
referral papers
okay.
that we hand out, resource guides, and they have the addresses and the phone numbers and that of these locations.
Okay. So the Salvation Army, you're saying for that location, they have to call in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So where, like, what if they don't have a phone to use to call in? How have people been going about that?
Yeah, and that's why we really don't refer clients to the Salvation Army because it's difficult. Like I can't have a client in front of me and like call for them to come in like in a day or two at 8 a.m. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So like
So
they
they
need a
just,
space then and there.
yeah. Okay, that's kind of a really hard situation to deal with. I wonder, maybe we need to set up some kind of a phone system for them somewhere too, like maybe the library downtown can offer, a call-in service during a time during the day where they can say, maybe from 3 till 4 o'clock, if you're here, you can call. Maybe those are some suggestions that can help in our city. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, payphones used to be everywhere, right?
I know.
And like you could call collect from a payphone and you could call any of these places back in the day. So
Yeah, and so now it's different. It's like so uncomfortable for someone to say, "Hey, can I borrow your phone?" or whatever, especially now. People don't want to even be lending a phone to someone because they don't want to catch anything or
yeah.
even be really close to someone, right? So it's got to be extremely difficult through these situations. What has been what's been the hardest struggle over, let's say, the past year?
So we went from running outreach one time per week, which was Wednesday, before the pandemic. When the pandemic first started, I was most of the nonprofits shut down, church groups all stopped. No one was walking the streets. It was literally just homeless people in the downtown core. That's it. That's all. Um, and I saw right away like that the need was huge. And I said, I can't shut down this program. I will not shut down this program because people are literally running after us because that's how hungry they are. There is no more drop-in services. You can't just go inside of a shelter anymore and eat because you used to be able to.
Yeah.
There was regular people that used to walk the streets and panhandlers could ask for money. Even the McDonald's on Stephen Ave had shut down because there was no traffic. So
Wow.
people literally needed food, water, and clothing. And so we worked together as a team and communicated with other people in the sector, and we launched a Saturday outreach, and then we launched a Sunday outreach, and just a couple weeks ago, to meet the need, we launched additionally a Tuesday outreach. So now we're running 4 times a week, and I think the on one side, the struggle has been maintaining that capacity and learning to be very adaptive and grow very, very quickly and making decisions even quicker, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but also, I often ask my team and myself, like, how are we managing the stress of what we have to see? Because we are Narcaning people that are dying, overdosing often.
Yeah.
Um, and then just the stress and the trauma that people that we're seeing that people are experiencing, the anxiety, the depression, the sort of helplessness, the increased sort of substance abuse that I have seen that is just a way of self-medicating. So it's all about managing that stress and practicing self-care because we're all going through a collective trauma together right now,
Yeah.
right? COVID has traumatized all of us in one way or another. So managing that along with this and still functioning.
Yeah. Well, I commend you for keeping yourself together because it's got to be really stressful and really hard. What do you do to kind of collect yourself at the end of the day?
I do yoga. Um, I love essential oils, but no, essential oils will not protect you from COVID.
Sorry, everyone.
Sorry.
No magic oil.
But I love like lavender and those great things. And I listen to meditation music. I do a lot of meditation, and there's this really cool like therapy you can do with yourself called EFT or
Yeah.
tapping, which is on like pyramidal points of your face. It's a type of meditation, and talking to my friends, reaching out to people.
Yeah. That's good. And so behind you is your team. Is this the team? I don't know if you can introduce them or if you're allowed to say who
Yeah,
they are,
yeah.
but okay, if you want to introduce them, that would be great. And then we'll talk about like how long you guys have all been kind of together.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to. So, can you see her here?
Yes.
So this is Hannah. So Hannah is a registered social worker. She's also one of the team leads for our Sunday outreach.
Great.
Here is Megan. Megan is an addictions worker, and she is currently on every single one of our 4 shifts. This is Kevin. Kevin is a community support and addictions worker who is now running our new Tuesday outreach.
Wow.
This is me.
Oh, who's that?
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of our new individuals. Her name is Brandy, and she also is a community support worker, and she also works with AHS. So this team that you see here actually is like we're trying to really attract people that have some of the education and the skills that are kind of needed to work with this population.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what you need because as nice as volunteers are to just have, some random people join you, you have some pros that are beside you every day. Well, not every day, every time you do an outreach. So it's nice to be able to have those resources right there, right now, and be able to say, okay, what do we need to do in these situations? And that, have you, so how long have you guys all been together? You said not very long for a couple of them, right?
Yeah, not very long for a couple of them. So
That's great.
Hannah has been on for a year. Kevin, I want to say like 8 months, and then
Okay.
Hannah has been on for three, maybe 4 months.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. And everyone seems to be doing great and working well together, hey?
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of love what we're doing, right? It's rewarding, and we each have a different skill set. So we have like this nasal Narcan where you put it in their nose.
Yeah.
And then there's like the injectable Narcan, which is like much easier to get. It's free. And so Hannah is just used to like having to do the injectable Narcan. And so she'll just like go for it. And I don't like injecting people when we're like doing outreach. It's not my thing. So so we each have our different skill set.
Yeah.
Kevin and Megan, their skill set is being addictions workers. So often I'm catching Megan convincing people to go to detox or treatment that need it, which is great.
Yeah.
And not everyone is using. This is just what I'm talking about because this is what's loud right now to us.
Yeah. Which is good. Well, the important thing is that, sometimes when we think of homeless, we do just think of like, okay, well, they're using alcohol or they're in drugs and they're doing that. But what are probably, let's say, 4 reasons why people are homeless that you know of?
Well, it's domestic abuse is one for sure. Addiction is one for sure. Mental health, and then also job loss.
Okay, which one would you say is the worst that you see most often?
It's mental health because I think mental health is systemic of many of these issues. And what I will say, I want to talk about that addiction piece because I always ask myself to like, would I stay in any of these homeless shelters if I was homeless? Because the reality is I don't think I would. And the reason I say that is because there's hundreds of people all sleeping in the same room for one. You you don't get a choice of what you eat. You don't get a choice of when you eat. Even if you wanted to shower every day, there's not enough showers for all those people to shower every day. Even if you wanted to do your laundry, there's not enough machines for you to do that. You don't get to choose when you come, when you go. You don't get a TV. You don't get a phone. You lose much of your independence and the dignity of being an independent human. And so when we talk about addiction, people see addiction, but what they don't see is what has caused that addiction. If you have to live in these circumstances, like I said, emergency shelters are emergency shelters. They're not housing. They are not the solution. And addiction is just the brain trying to survive, to medicate, to live through these situations. Because personally, I wouldn't want to be in these institutions. That's not.
Yeah. Well, and you were kind of there once upon a time. So, yeah. So you've been there, done that, and which, I mean, it's a hard thing to go through. So like I said, congratulations for overcoming that and being able to talk about, because we did talk about it the last time we had your interview. But you're kind of, the inside of it. So you have, you're almost like a pro, I guess. So you kind of know what everyone's, some people are going through and what they really do need, which is important, of course, because then okay, well, this person needs this, or they need, the mental health, or they need whatever. So you're very quick to be able to help them, which is amazing, because a lot of people, we just need everyday heroes. That's all we need. And this is the time that we need them. What has been the volunteer situation in each of these, in the outreach, well, not the outreach, you know what I mean, in the housing, or the shelters, that's the word I'm looking for, not the housing. The shelters, have you had a lot of volunteers, or the same volunteers, or has it been going down, or what's it been like for that aspect?
Actually, I'm amazed at the response from people in Calgary. Like, I have so many volunteer requests, I can't even keep up with them. Like, it really goes to show the love that people really have, that they see that there is a need and they want to jump right into it and give back. And I cannot keep up with the amount of love. It's so big. Like, you should see my inbox and our Facebook messages. And even our social media manager, she's like, Chaz, can you please just help me answer these?
That's so good. How has the food situation been in the shelters too? Have you guys, are you paired up with a restaurant or some kind of, like Walmart or any type of place that's been able to give you guys food, or has it just been all donations? What is it usually like for that aspect?
So mostly it's been private individuals like you, like buying from our Amazon wish list that we have and donating funds. And that's primarily been how we have been running. In saying that, we have actually increased our capacity to be able to hand out even more food than we started with, because some larger restaurant chains have stepped up. So this past week, we had Boston Pizza in Seton here in Calgary. Sorry, was it Seton? Seton, thank you. Seton
That's okay. My words are all blah, 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 too, tonight. I don't know. Maybe it's... we went from really cold to now it's plus 15 degrees warmer than it was yesterday. So
yeah,
my brain's melting with the weather.
So Seton Boston Pizza. And then today was another restaurant, Mikey's on
17th?
Yeah.
12th or 17th?
I think 12th.
12th.
Yeah, Mikey's restaurant downtown. So they donated soup, and I believe on Wednesday is another restaurant donating. So the individual that hooked us up with that, it's just great. And so we have the Women's Circle run by Kathy, and we have many other groups
that's
supporting
great.
us right now. I should actually have a list in front of me.
Right? I know. Next time, it's good. Well, now that you were saying women, do you guys have just a women's shelter at all, or are they just all co-ed? How does that work?
So there are a few women's shelter. They're always full. So
Okay.
like I've never been successful at getting a client into a women's shelter in the years I've been doing outreach because they always are just completely full.
Mm.
Yeah, and
So
we've
what?
tried calling every single shelter multiple times. We've done it many times. I've had new outreach workers that didn't believe me. They did it themselves, and they're like, They said that they're all full, and I'm like, I know.
Wow.
Yeah,
So we need, how many women's shelters do we have? Do you know?
I don't. No,
No idea.
I want to
Hey.
say five though.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there's a need for women's shelters, hey?
Yeah, what the drop-in center is, it boasts to be the largest shelter in North America. Um, that's actually a problem. It's because we don't build shelters that large in other places, and so ultimately, if we weren't putting 1,000 people in that one building, that would be 6 to 8 smaller purpose-built shelters. So we need LGBT shelters, we need Indigenous shelters, we need shelters where if you have a pet, because people have pets,
Mm.
and that's their mental health, they should be able to go in shelters. We need more women's shelters and a senior shelter. Why are we having 70-year-old men with 20-year-olds, especially during a pandemic? This is just you know and this is what's happening. And then we have transgender people that might not feel safe, and then they try and use a washroom in a place where there's already sort of mental health going on, and
Mm.
it's not always a pleasant atmosphere. If I'm Indigenous and I want to smudge because that's part of their
Yeah.
culture and their beliefs, they don't get to wake up from a bad dream and smudge because that's what they do, and they're not allowed to do that. So I
Yeah.
think we can do
Interesting.
so much better if we want to make emergency shelters more purpose built and get people into housing while maintaining human dignity and promoting community.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know it's not supposed to be a permanent place for them to be, but it would be a nice to have a space, like the safe space for them to be able to practice whatever they need to and feel safe for, those couple days or the night or whatever like that. So interesting enough.
And other cities do
Must
have like LGBT shelters and Indigenous shelters. So this isn't a new concept.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard of, I guess because I just don't know. I mean, I'm reading things left, right, and center everywhere, and I don't do my own research on one specific topic. So it's nice to be able to have the pro in front of me and say, okay, these are the issues. This is what we need. This is what we don't have. And, what could we do better? So that's good. What are some things that we could do better for our homeless in the city? What do you think?
We just need to make housing more accessible. There's no reason why in a city with 30% vacancy rates that are average that we have people freezing outside in the cold that want housing. Like, I think that this is just unacceptable in a country this rich. It's just not right. And
Mm-hmm.
then we're warehousing them into, emergency shelters, which are environments that unfortunately are producing more homelessness, mental health, and crime and substance abuse as a result of those types of environments. They have some great staff working there doing the best that they can, but we can do better for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, is there anything else that you want to touch up on before we wrap up?
No, thank you for taking the time to come meet and ask these questions, though.
Yeah, I needed to have you back because well, I said that I wanted to do a follow up with you, but also because it's been, quite a few months, almost a year, I think. So it's good. I wanted to see how you guys are doing and if what else you guys need for, your supplies and resources. Speaking of that, where can people go to donate and where can they drop items off?
Yeah, so our building is 316 7th Ave Southeast, and that's downtown Calgary. People can use the 6th Ave parking lot and they can call our outreach phone when they arrive, and that's 587-224-9114. And someone will come out and meet them between the hours of 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday.
Okay.
People can also donate on our website, and that's bethechangeyyc.org. And that's PayPal, credit, or debit.
Okay. And then really quick, can you, you were saying something about an Amazon wish list. Is that on your website?
Yeah, on our Facebook page, we have the Amazon wish list.
Okay. What are a few things that are on the wish list?
Tents, gloves, hands/feet warmers.
Okay.
There's meal replacements.
Okay. So if anybody can help out and donate either way, that would be amazing as well. So Chaz, thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully, yeah, maybe we'll have one of your team members on sometime and we'll talk, and it'll be interesting because it's nice to hear what you have to say, but when someone else is also there beside you, it's kind of nice to see their perspective on things and how everything's running. But I believe you're doing an amazing job, and keep it up, absolutely. And if you do need people, yeah, let me know and I'll throw it up here on the Jess FM, page, and on my Underground Radio C page as well. And we'll try and get more people out for you, or however we can do it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Carrie.
You're very welcome. So please stay safe out there. Thank you again for all your hard work, and what you do every day is amazing. Thank you so very much from the community, from me. I appreciate it. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great night, everyone else. Stay safe, and thank you for tuning in tonight. Next Connected with Carrie show will be Tuesday, and then next Saturday we're having Dean Rowery on. So have a great night, Chaz.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.